You ever notice how people talk about Muslims like they've actually met a billion of them? It's crazy, man. You'll hear someone say, "Oh, Muslims are this," or "Islam teaches that," and I'm like, wait, have you even talked to a Muslim before? Have you sat down, shared a meal, listened to their stories? Most people haven't. They're getting their entire idea of 1.9 billion human beings from headlines, from movies, from the worst moments broadcast on the news. That's like judging all Americans by what happens in one bad neighborhood. It's insane. We've built this image in our heads of the Muslim world as if it's one monolithic thing. But it's not. It's billions of individuals, different countries, cultures, languages, histories, and yet somehow this lazy, fear-based narrative has been recycled for decades. The biggest lie we've all swallowed is that Muslims are fundamentally different from us. They're not. They're people, just like anyone else, trying to live, love, raise their kids, chase dreams, and make sense of life. The thing that blows my mind is how easy it is for fear to shape an entire civilization's perception. You scare people long enough, show them enough explosions on TV, and suddenly they think they understand a religion that's been around for over 1,400 years. But fear sells. Anger sells, division sells, and for years that's what the media ran on. It's like a drug. People get addicted to outrage, but once you actually step into a Muslim household, you realize how different reality is from the picture that's been painted. The warmth, the hospitality, the emphasis on family, it's incredible. I've met Muslim guests who wouldn't even let me leave their house without feeding me something. That kind of generosity doesn't come from hate. It comes from a deep culture of community and respect. We've confused extremism with faith. That's the real problem. Every religion, every ideology has extremists. There are people who twist anything, Christianity, Judaism, politics, you name it, to justify horrible things. But we don't label every Christian a crusader or every Buddhist a militant. Yet somehow, when a Muslim does something wrong, it's instantly tied to their faith. When anyone else does something bad, it's just a crazy person. The double standard is wild. If you look at the data, the majority of Muslims around the world condemn violence. They want peace. They pray for it. Islam literally means submission to God and comes from the same root word as peace. But we don't hear that part because peace doesn't make breaking news. And then there's the discipline. You ever talk to someone who wakes up before sunrise every single day to pray? That's some next level focus. Muslims do that 5 times a day. That's not brainwashing, that's commitment. They fast for an entire month, not just from food, but from ego, from bad habits. Imagine doing that in a world that's all about instant gratification. That takes strength. You start realizing these people have a structure, a code, a rhythm that modern society has lost touch with. It's not about being perfect. It's about being conscious. And I think that's what throws people off. We live in a culture where everyone's addicted to comfort, and here's this group saying, no, we train the soul. Another thing that gets me, people act like Islam is some alien concept when in reality it shares so much with Christianity and Judaism. Same prophets, same stories, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, all respected figures in Islam. Muslims believe in the Virgin Mary. They believe in Jesus' miracles. You tell that to most people and they're shocked. They have no idea. Because again, no one taught them the real version. All they've seen is the edited one, the one that fits into a fear narrative. That's the tragedy. We're all connected through these ancient stories of guidance and faith, but somewhere along the line we started seeing the other instead of ourselves. And the craziest part, Muslims are everywhere. They're your doctors, your engineers, your Uber drivers, your soldiers, your artists, your teachers. They're in every walk of life, just quietly doing their thing, trying to live in a world that constantly questions their existence. Imagine waking up every day having to prove that you're not what the media says you are. That takes resilience. That takes dignity. Most of us couldn't handle that level of scrutiny for a week. I think what's happening now, though, is a shift. More people are traveling, meeting Muslims, visiting places like Morocco, Turkey, Indonesia, even parts of the U.S. where Muslim communities thrive. And when they come back, they're like, wait, that's not what I expected at all. You start to see the cracks in the illusion. You realize that so much of what we knew was just a convenient lie to justify fear, war, and control. The more you learn, the less you fear. The less you fear, the more human you become. And it's funny, when you strip away the politics, the noise, and just talk about human values, kindness, honesty, family, faith, it all lines up. Islam isn't about domination, it's about discipline. It's about remembering there's something greater than yourself. And that idea makes people uncomfortable, especially in a culture that glorifies the self above all else. But maybe that discomfort is good. Maybe it's a mirror showing us what we've lost. So when people say Muslims are this or Islam is that, I always ask based on what? Have you actually met one? Have you sat in their home? Have you seen how they treat their parents, their neighbors, their guests? Because if you did, you'd realize the real difference isn't between Muslims and non-Muslims. It's between people who seek truth and people who don't. Between those who listen and those who assume. Between those who build bridges and those who profit from walls. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to make sense of existence. Muslims pray facing one direction, but we're all facing the same questions. Who are we? Why are we here? What's good? What's right? What happens after we die? And if you listen with an open mind, Islam doesn't sound foreign at all. It sounds like something familiar that we forgot along the way. So yeah, maybe everyone's been wrong about Muslims. Not because they're bad people, but because they've been fed the wrong story. And it's time we stop letting fear narrate it for us.